Thanks, Ty. I would like to thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.
When I first started, it was as a physician in medicine for women's health. I went through my training, and at that time, I was exposed to working in hospitals, in big settings, in clinics, in urgent centers. And at that time, I felt I wanted to be in private practice so that I could have intimate contact with my patients and get to know them on a personal level. So with that in mind, I decided I would have my own practice so that I wasn't just rushing in and rushing out and not being, personal. So I scouted around looking for a location that I thought would be ideal. And I found a storefront in front of busy traffic, which was actually originally a candy store. My biggest regret is they did not leave their inventory. So I bought all the necessary equipment and decorated it in a cozy, homey way, hired the staff, and now I was ready for business. I opened up the doors, telephones were working, and after about 2 minutes of having my launched practice, I realized, it hit me. I have no patience, none. It's not like I bought into a practice or I had partnerships. This was my practice. So after 2 minutes, I realized if I did not take a more active stance in 3 weeks, when bills started coming in, I would be closing the doors as well.
Yeah.
So while marketing really was not a thing in medicine in those days, I realized that medicine was something that was not something that I would try or something that was a maybe. It was something that I had to do for survival.
Yeah.
And so I started marketing right away. I had no mentor to show me the ropes, so I had to, establish my own systems. Some didn't work. Fortunately, most did. So eventually I went from having no patients to having 10,000 active patients at the time that I left.
Did you say 10,000?
10,000.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh my goodness.
So you did a little bit of marketing.
Just a
I
bit.
did a little bit of marketing, but
incredible.
I don't mind telling you that when the first patient called and came, it really took away the anxiety.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because if you can get one patient, you can get 10,000 in time.
Exactly.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you repeat more of what you did, right? And then you,
Yeah.
as you speak to more people, or as you get more customers that come in, or patients in this sense, you start to learn, and then you start to apply, you start to double down. So I'm curious, Barbara, like what originally led you to understand, like, look, I need to start marketing? Of course, there was the need, like you said, the doors would close down after a certain period of time. But what made you specifically go in and start studying it? Was it something that you studied? Was it something that you stumbled onto, or was it, just learning through necessity? Like, okay, I need to get this stuff.
Well, it rather was necessity, let's face it. But when I came to realize rather quickly that, medicine is really just a question of telling people what you provide, your services and your products, and where you're located, that's marketing. Now, think of this. You tell people where you're located, but you don't tell them what you do.
Yeah.
You tell people what you do, but
In
you
many
don't tell
ways,
them where you're
endurance,
located.
stamina.
David,
That would be
David.
ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on.
Absolutely. Let's just mute out where that noise came from then.
Yeah, that was David. I just muted him out there.
Okay.
And let me. No, you're right.
Barbara.
So you tell them what it is that you do, and then how do they
And what
reach?
you provide. Yeah. How can I help them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think this goes back to the very beginning. So I was talking about, like, you might see things in different industries, speaking to the audience, right? The individual that's watching this, and you might say, okay, well, Barbara is speaking to physicians, she's marketing to physicians. That's not going to work for me, someone that's a course creator or someone that's an author. And the answer is absolutely yes, it'll work for you. You tell people what it is that you provide. You meet them, right? In this case, you're reversing it a little bit. You might meet them where they're at, or if you're using advertising, then you position your thing in front of them so that they now can come to you. And it is everything that you just said. So it works regardless of industry.
Absolutely. You know, the thing is, you could have the best widget,
Mm-hmm.
or you could have the best service. You could have just, you know, created a cure for cancer. But the thing is, if people don't know that you exist, if people don't know how to find you, it really doesn't matter how good your products or your services are, because no one will ever be able to approach you.
Yeah,
That goes for whatever
ever you do.
whatever you have and
Yeah.
whatever you do.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of my very first initiative, which fortunately worked really well. When I came to this community, I joined the Chamber of Commerce, because you have people in there that are active in all sorts of jobs, all sorts of interests. And I felt that if they got to know me, then I would get referrals from them. But after being a member for a short time, I called the head of the chamber and said, listen, I would like to put in an ad on the front page of the local newspaper, which is like a rather large size,
Okay.
which simply says the following: the Chamber of Commerce welcomes its newest member, and give my name, my address, and what the office is for. Well, they said, well, we have no objection to that, because all you're saying is that we've welcomed you, which we have. So, you know, go for it.
Yeah.
Which was great, because it enabled people in the community to see that I'm there and where I'm located and what I do, without being, you know, like salesy. I'm just saying, like, hey, here I am. I'm here to serve you. This is where I am. This is who I am. And phones rung off the hook the day after that ad was published.
Wow, that's so good. And because you've got the right people seeing it in there as well, with all the business influencers in that infrastructure, with, you know, their own audiences. That's really, really clever. Wendy says, I joined the Chamber of Commerce as well. Great idea. Yeah, it's a great idea. And so how long ago was this, Barbara, when you created your first, I'm going to say your first practice? How long ago are we talking about, did you say?
Well, I hate to date myself,
Yeah,
but it was last century.
yeah, wow, excellent. Yeah,
Very
way
cool.
before all this online stuff. So it
That's
was
right.
physical, in your face,
That's right.
face-to-face marketing,
But
or via
yeah.
publications.
But the
Yeah,
thing is this, Carolyn, that even though, you know, it was before computers, people need to realize that it's the one-on-one between people that
yeah,
really is going to bring you as much or more success than,
yeah,
you know, like being online. You know,
yeah,
just getting out there, shaking hands with not only perspectives, but also people that will be your referral source.
yeah,
Think of a person that has a limo service who just started, and they may not be getting like much business. Now think of a restaurant that may be semi-popular, or a floral shop. Meet with all three of them and
mm-hmm.
say, listen, let's put out a package for Valentine's Day. We'll have coupons for the restaurant to eat dinner. We'll have coupons for flowers. So some guys that may not be adept at figuring out what a package should be for Valentine's Day, we're going to make it for you so that you could hire the limousine to drive you. We're going to take you to the restaurant. You're going to give flowers. And it's something that everyone will appreciate and will all benefit.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Business to
And so,
business.
as you
Yeah.
were talking, I have a friend, James, right? So when we first moved to North Carolina, he owned a limo service, young guy, and he was in his early 20s at this time. And he did exactly that from the standpoint of he was very much a networker. So he would go to the hotels. He would park his limo sometimes in front of the hotels. He would know everyone at the restaurants. He would know everyone at the clubs. He just knew everyone. And I thought that that was him naturally. So I'm like, dude, how do you know all of these people? We were downtown Raleigh one time, and everyone's waving at him. You know, people. This is a busy area when you go downtown. He knows everyone, and he says I was really intentional with making sure that I go in and I meet the people that know the people. So
Exactly.
meet the people that know the people, and that always stuck with me because it goes in. It goes hand in hand with what you're saying here as well. Um, so that's a great strategy. It is going in and just being aware, shaking hands, as you said, maybe even kissing some babies. You didn't say kissing babies, but kissing some babies, throwing some babies in there every once in a while, and just going on this political campaign for your business.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I'll give you another example. Is there was another physician that was starting out in radiology.
Okay.
And we got together. I said, come, we'll chat. We'll do lunch and we'll chat. And it was funny originally when he came to the office because he thought that I was a family physician. I thought that he was an eye doctor. So, it wasn't until we sat down that we found out like what our actual specialties were.
Right.
But because of the specialties, anytime he had like a pelvic mass or found a pregnancy, he referred them to me. Whenever I had someone that needed a sonogram or an x-ray, I referred my patients to him. It was a fantastic, networking relationship because we each gained from it.
Yeah.
And it was a successful networking relationship for like 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
The beauty in that is also that it removes all of resistance, right? So like by him sending qualified patients over to you, because that's what he was sending, like qualified people
Exactly.
that had a need, he's mentioning your name. Now, his credibility is instantly passed over to you. They don't have to go in and look in the yellow pages or search online or whatever it might have been and find someone that they've never heard of that name before. And now there's the uncertainty, there's the doubt. Well, is this person going to be good? I don't see any reviews. Let me go in and check. No, Barbara said that this is the guy.
The trust is always already there.
Yeah.
Easy, free marketing, but also way better for the client. I'll call them the client, patient, client, because they know I've come to Barbara, had this positive experience, I trust you, and so anyone you refer, I'll take that, because they already trust you. So that person has a very easy job then of taking it from there. And this is so important, whether we're working and working online, the importance of this sort of networking, that actually, when it's sometimes easy not to do that so much when we're working online. And many people here, Barbara, I know you'll know this already from Atai, are doing courses online and books. A lot of people publishing books here. And some people are writing, some people are like having teams of people helping them write. And it's so easy to work in isolation. And I did this, for the first year of my business. I didn't really network so much with other people other than the community, which was hugely beneficial that Ty created. But in terms of other authors, and when I started doing more of that, I became more successful, even though we weren't physically meeting. But that, Zoom meeting is sort of still okay, even though it's not quite as good as shaking your hand. But it just, when I refer somebody, because of my success and people trust me, when I refer somebody, you know, if I've got, I don't know, a cover designer or an editor who I've worked with, they know they're going to get somebody that's already gone through my, you know, my process of vetting and everything. So they'll trust me to do that. And so it makes it very easy then for that cover designer or editor to work. It's just a case of then quoting and taking it from there and starting.
Okay.
But when years ago, before we could do that so easily, you can do that en masse now. That physical, well, say physical, but getting that advert in a Chamber of Commerce publication, and then having that relationship with people head on through networking meetings and stuff is huge. So I guess even as, you know, writers and publishers and content creators, we ought to be making an effort too of going to, if we're not doing it already, going to more events where you guys probably met at an event, maybe, maybe not.
No, we didn't.
How you
We
met.
did not meet at an event.
Oh.
She's one of the only guests that I did not meet at an event. Usually our guests I've met at an event or in a workshop or seminar, but no. I just randomly called Barbara and said, "Hey, I need you to get on the MMM," and she said, "Okay," and that was it. No, I'm just
Oh, nice. Just random. Send you a friend request and ask you to come on.
cold calling at its best.
No, actually, he's just being modest because I've been a long time admirer Ty's.
Yeah.
And I have his whole series of like what looks like books, but they are cover cases for the CDs that he put out on Kindle books. I don't even know if I have the machines that can properly play it anymore, but but I don't get rid of them. And so you know, so I've over the years admired everything that Ty has done because he's got so much to offer.
Absolutely, for sure. And so one of the things I wanted to ask when you were talking at the beginning about, you know, like the first day and the first week, and it's like, okay, I haven't got any patients yet. And then you went to work on marketing. What are some of the like the networking, obviously, and like bundle offers and all those sorts of processes around that? In addition to that, what's some of the best marketing practices you've put into place that's worked to create your 10,000 customer base, patient base?
You know, the best marketing, you know, which is again like the, you know, you find out what like totally like flops. And the biggest flop that I you know, like found initially for myself, but also like when I do marketing for other people now, is that the ones that flop are the ones where people are just talking about themselves. They're saying, you know, this is my, these are my credentials, and these are my degrees and certifications, which is, you know, like a puffed up way of saying, you know, like, hey, I'm great, I'm experienced, come to me. It'll flop every time. People really don't care about you per se. They only want to know what you can do for them. So if, you know, if you start and say, but you're qualifying them at the same time. So let's say you're saying, you know, like, hey, you know, like, do you struggle with these worries? Do you suffer from these problems? Do you have this pain? Well, this is something that, you know, I can help you with. So right away, you know, when you get people in your audience or reading your content who are shaking their head, yes, that's me. Yes, that's me. These are people that are going to be lifelong, you know, clients of yours, no matter what your specialty is. I mean, it doesn't have to be like medicine. It could be, you know, anything that you do. If you're saying like, hey, you know, like, do you suffer with, you know, like cracked sidewalks and driveways? Are you worried that people are going to fall and hurt themselves and then sue you? Hey, you know, like maybe now is the time to take care of it. And
Yeah.
like, I'm all there for you. You know, you can reach me 7 days a week and my prices are competitive. And, you know, here's my call. Somebody always answers the phone. Let's go for it. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're going to see people with that problem saying like, yeah, that's me. And it sounds like that's you. Let's do it.
For sure. And the thing is as well, you know, there's an element of, okay, as long as you know, you can do it very quickly, you sort of score off the credibility marker, if you like, where, okay, does this person know what they're talking about? Well, yes. So that can be done very quickly, the whole talking about you thing. And that might be just saying things like, you know, I'm an author, or I'm a doctor, or I'm, you know, a marketer, and I've been doing this for 30 years or whatever. So that credibility is obviously important, but you're going to do that anyway, aren't you, when you start talking about your product in terms of what you know. So as long as you've like scored off the credibility, then it's time to shut up about yourself. And then, like you say, sort of market to people's pain points and how you can support them and help them with a particular problem. It reminds me also of when I talk to people and coach people who are publishing books, and we've done lots of live events in the past where people would come on, like the KCF live event that we run. And so when I would talk to people that are writing books, and often it will be their sort of passion project, and it might be like an autobiography or a memoir or something like that. And I always say to them, that's really cool. But one of the things I want you to think about is, I'm not saying don't do that, depending on what that looks like in terms of helping people, but you've got to think about, you know, what are people really looking for in this space? You know, what are the problems out there? What do they want to do? Do your passion project, but then focus on this particular area because there's a real need in the market for it, and how you can help people. And then, of course, do the other stuff as well. Because it's so tempting to be led in business from ourselves and what we want to do for ourselves to be successful. You know, we all want to look and feel good about something we've achieved. But if we always come from customer first and customer led, you're going to be way more successful, aren't you? Because you're going to be supporting a massive need like you were able to do and still are. By providing people with something they really need.
Yeah. Well, the fact is now, Carolyn, you don't have to talk about yourself at all.
At all.
At all, because like nobody just says, you know, like, you know, I like the way you talk. I like the way you look. Okay, I'm coming. Or, you know, someone referred me. Okay, that's good enough for me. That no longer works. You know, even if a physician, let's say, is referred by other physicians or referred by insurance company, 80% of people getting that referral look that person up online to see their credentials and what they're all about, and their rankings and their reviews and their ratings way before making that appointment.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
if, let's say they got 1 star and 2 reviews, and both of them said, I wouldn't go to that office. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter whether you got the referral or not. You're not making that appointment.
It's true. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's my exact process. You know, matter of fact, I'm going to do a sleep study tonight, and I'm looking at the physician because my pulmonologist referred me to someone else. And the first thing, and I'll tell you even more, Barbara, what I'll do is I'll even go start looking at their social media.
Yeah.
In today's day and age, you want to start looking at, and some people, right? So like this conversation here, and the person that's watching this, you might be a step ahead of how you go in and you do this because you have a different level of awareness. But I'll go and I'll even start looking at the social media because I want to, oh my God, that person loves cars too, right? Or whatever it might be. Oh my God, him and his wife or her and her husband seem like they have a great relationship. This is the physician that I want to, and you might not be saying this consciously, it might all be subconsciously done. So sometimes I say that to say that you want to be intentional sometimes with your online presence because people are watching, and it happens more and more. And now it doesn't happen just once. People are going to Instagram, and then they're going over to your Facebook, and then they're going over to your LinkedIn. Whereas before it used to be they might only go to your LinkedIn. because that was the professional space. Now they're going everywhere else, right?
Mhm.
And they want to humanize you a little bit more, because if they can do that, then you're more relatable. So I love the fact that you brought that up, the fact that people are going in and looking at reviews and everything else.
They've already got that data very easily, very quickly beforehand. You can get all of that 5 or 10 minutes beforehand before you speak to somebody or go in and watch something or whatever. That's a really, really good point. And, you know, also the other thing around that is in terms of marketing, how do people market themselves on social media? And what I do is, before I work with people or partner with people or bring them into my team, I'll go and hang out, or just literally have a glance at their social media. And Facebook obviously is the personal one, isn't it? And Instagram. If it's not a business account, then, you know, if someone's spewing out a lot of negativity on there or posting, you know, I won't work with them either, you know, because I just think I don't want, you know, I want someone that's going to come to the table, whether they're a client or a provider, who are going to be aligned with me and the way that I approach business. So I think that's super important as well from a marketing perspective. We're sort of marketing all the time, aren't we? Even on our personal social media, because how you carry yourself personally is going to reflect back into your business as well. You know, so if someone's just spewing out, like people do, you know, the stuff on social media, and you think, that doesn't sort of, that's a bit of bad vibe. I don't want that energy into my...
Which is why this segues to one of the tips that I'd like to give your Monday audience today.
Sounds good.
Yeah, one of the tips. This is a freebie. You don't always get marketing, but this is a freebie. And it is that you should register with Google Alert. You can do for keywords, but you could also do names. You could do names of people that you're interested in following, but you also want to put your name and your website name in Google Alert. What that will do is, anytime anybody says anything about you, good or bad, Google will send you an email and let you know not only that they spoke about you, but where it is you appear. That also goes across all digital appearances, whether it is blogs or newsletters, or regular newspapers. Wherever your name pops up, Google Alert will let you know. And that is important for 3 reasons. Number one, because social media is to be social. It's not just to post something continually. It is to engage with people. When people, you know, send you something for you to you know, comment on, or they are commenting on something that you said, they're putting up their hand and saying, like, I want to talk to you, I want to engage with you. But if you never know that that occurred, you're never going to be able to respond to them, or you're not going to respond to them in a timely fashion. Let's face it, if someone asks me a question or says something that they expect me to respond to, and I see it like 2 or 3 months later, by that time, you know, like, life has moved on, nobody cares anymore. So if I find out from Google, hey, somebody just asked you a question, somebody just mentioned your name, then it enables me to go in and respond, which is the whole purpose of what social media is about, and will also garner you more, you know, like more importance of being on social media. But in addition to that, let's say someone goes in and writes a ranking for you in a review, good or bad. You know, Google Alert will let you know, hey, someone just ranked you. It appeared on Yelp, or it appeared here, or it appeared there. And you would want to know immediately what that review is, good or bad. If it is a good review, pat on the back, that's great. But if it's a bad review, you want to know immediately also, because not to try to argue or engage with the person that wrote the review.
Which never works.
which never
No.
is. But the first thing you want to do is take a look at it objectively, not with any emotion. You don't want to say like, hey, like you are not a stand-up person, so I don't care what you have to say. Or you're a nasty person, I don't care what you have to say. Like you're in business, you have to cater to everyone. So you really want to objectively look at what the bad review is actually saying.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they're doing you a favor by a bad review is actually a gift to you, because as opposed to just bad mouthing you elsewhere where you're never going to know, they're telling you exactly what you did wrong so that you can go ahead and change it.
Yeah.
Then you could go back to that review, to that person that wrote the review, and say, thank you for letting me know.
Yep.
And we have since changed our policy because of what you said. And we welcome you to come back so that, we could talk personally further about it, or you can now see how we've changed and hopefully you'll like it. So, like a bed, not only are you intentionally improving yourself, but you're also telling people that read these reviews, hey, this person is flexible. This person took what their reviewers had to say seriously and were willing to change. I'd like to do business with a person that is that flexible, who would validate my opinions.
Yeah.
And it's also a great indicator for if if you're managing a big business, it's so hard, medium business, size business, it's hard to keep on top of everything in every single section. So it's a great way, isn't it, like you say, of highlighting any issues. Okay, there are issues with the way that we're responding to people, not quick enough or whatever, or it's issues with the support side of the business. And it enables you then to put those things into practice, as well as, like you say, getting from the viewer's perspective, they're going to see someone that cares, who's actively changing any problems, and every business will have problems along the way, which is a really, really good thing. That's a great tip for people today.
These work for, I've used the Google Alerts, and I'm glad you shared this for a while now. And, you add your name. I would add my product names. I would add, we don't add all of our products now because as we start to create more and more courses, you kind of forget about doing it. But
there's no limit. You could do it.
no, there's no limit at all. And what happens is, so I started doing this maybe about 10 or 11 years ago with the Google Alerts when it first became, and you never stop getting those emails. Anytime someone goes in and they'll search a Tycoon or Kindle Capsule or whatever it might be, micro offers, or, you get those limits. I mean, you'll get those notifications, so you can do it for everything. And I think you're spot on, Barbara, when you go in and you see something that might not look the best for you or your business or your product, you handle it with care. So recently I was doing some searches for a paver. We're having one of our properties, we're having some work done. So I wanted to get the grounds, the cement work done. And I saw where this one company that looked fantastic review-wise, as I go in, I start looking at the reviews. They are responding to the negative ones, but they're responding to them in this really egotistical, you didn't do this, and they're putting all of the blame on the customer. So I'm intrigued. So I'm reading about 20 of these, not using this business, because after the second one, I made my decision up that I'm not using this business. I don't want someone that's going to put the blame back on the customer. So I really wanted to point that out, like the fact that when people do review, you go back in, and the easiest way to turn someone around is to say, you know what, I can really see how you could be upset. Hey, as a matter of fact, I think when you and I spoke about, when we initially spoke, you had gotten charged for something. $97. Do you remember that?
I do.
And if I had not handled that right, you probably would not be here. So I hope I handled it right.
You handled it like a pro.
You need to look at the review, Ty.
I could have been like, Barbara, what are you talking about? It's all on you. You should have, right? But no, you go in and you say, look, I totally get it. You put it's old grandmother wisdom. And what I mean by that is my mom used to always say, put yourself in someone else's shoes. Oh my God, I totally get it. And as we were talking, I said, I'm going to go in and refund this thing right away. I didn't have to refund it because I saw it was Sherry or Des or someone else on my team had already refunded it. And then you and I went to this other conversation. So I really want to highlight what you were talking about in terms of making sure that, number one, you have the Google highlights up, alerts. And then number two, when you do see something that's negative, go in, step away maybe for 10 or 15 minutes so that your emotions are not part of that response, and respond in a way where you're going to say, how would I want to respond if this was my mom, or if this was me, or if this was someone that I cared about? And now you'll go in and you'll get so many more customers because other people are looking at that stuff. So that was a beautiful tip there. Thank you.
So true. Brilliant tip. Yeah. Any other tips that you can share with us,
I
Barbara?
do have another tip. Always full of tips.
We love your tips.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so, people have, well, new people, two tips regarding this, regarding your, your URL that, for your website.
Okay.
People maybe starting out, maybe they just started out and they don't really have a website yet, or they're thinking about getting another website. There are something called keywords, which are words that people are searching when they're trying to look for a particular service or product that you provide. So you have to sit down and say, well, like, what would that be? Like, let's say that I was a contractor. So people might say they're looking for a contractor. Or maybe they'll say, I'm looking for, well, you know what, I'm going to do something easier. I'm going to make, for illustration, let's say I am an orthopedist. And so people are, looking for an orthopedist. They just moved into the community from elsewhere, and they're looking for an orthopedist. Maybe they have, joint pain. And so, what is it that when somebody is looking, in the search bar, they will find you, and that you will come up, first or second. So it wouldn't just be like one word. It would be like 3 or 4 words strung together that that would best describe you, which is what we call long tail keywords. You don't need to know that, but that's what it is. So maybe I would want to have my keywords as London orthopedist knee pain, or like knee replacements. So when someone does a search and they are looking for, these words together, you pop up first. If you have that as your website URL, then it is working for you 24 hours a day, working for you at night. It's you're not doing anything. The website name is working for you. In addition to that, I would not walk, but run to the phone or the computer and get a URL that is your name. That does not mean that you ever have to use it. Let's say you're Atlantic Wellness. So you might say, well, the website that I'm going to get is Atlantic Wellness. They might not know me when they first come to the community by my name, but they might know me by the specialty or where I'm located. Well, you're looking at it then the wrong way, because when you get the website of your name, you never have to use it, or you may never want to use it. But getting it means that nobody else can use it.
Yep.
That is the main key, that nobody else can use it. Now, you may think that you have a unique name, that people wouldn't have a name that's yours or anything remotely like yours until computers came out. and until Google came out. And then when you Google your name, you find that this unique name of yours, there's about 10 of them with exactly the same name and maybe exactly the same region. So
Just in that state, there's 10 of them, right? That's it. Yeah.
exactly. So, and the thing is, they may not have a service that you would want your name associated with. Let's say they have a porn site. You know,
Yeah.
would you want to be selling like Bibles and then find out that when they go online that it's a porn site?
Yeah.
You know, so the thing is, you never have to use your name as a website. You just don't want anybody else to. So, you know, like that is like a asterisk, actually star tip. Go get your name.
Yeah, that's a great one. I did that for all of my kids, and even my wife. I registered her name, especially my daughter Summer Cohen, because I felt that she has a very unique. So I now what happens is every year when you see those registration bills come in, which is not a lot, it's $20, right? Then you start to
The
think,
renewal every year.
but it's really worth it. So Barbara, that's a great tip. You don't want to have, Rusty Knox. You've got a very unique name, Rusty. So I would go in as Barbara says, register that bad boy, because there could be another Rusty Knox somewhere as unique as your name is, thinking that there's not someone else, but this guy, he's not moving in the direction that you want to move in, right? So that's a great tip. Thank you, Barbara. That's awesome.
That is a
Yeah.
star tip.
That should be everyone's mission today. So
Yeah.
go on like GoDaddy. You can go on Namecheap. I mean, there's a gazillion of them over there. If you want a reputable place, use GoDaddy. They are a little bit more expensive. You can use. I mean, there's a bazillion of them. Namecheap is a good one. But you should make that your mission to go spend that $20 and register your name. And if you have, someone else's name, your significant or your children, you think that their name should be registered, do that for them as well.
Now, if you see that your name with .com is already taken, and they say, well, you could use .net, .us, .this, .that, while you can get those, the goal is really to get a URL that is a .com, because, or in England, a .co, because when people are going online and typing in the URL, the first thing that everybody goes to is .com. They're not thinking, well, let me try .net. They're going to .com. So your traffic is actually going to somebody else. So when you go to register for that domain name, make it your mission to have .com. You could additionally buy the other, like suffixes, but you need to have a .com.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Great tip. We're gonna squeeze you for one more, Barbara. What do you got?
Yeah.
We're at the top. No, we're at the top of the hour. But if you want to share something more, please, by all means, do. I know our audience got a lot. I'm looking at the faces, the people that have their camera on, and I see this, which is always a good sign. They're taking notes. They're writing, right? I'm writing. Caroline's over there taking notes as well. So this is good stuff. Very good.
Excellent
Well,
stuff.
I'm going to give a shout out to an author in view of the fact that you do books, Carolyn, and that is a book that I, read over the last year that I found to be worthy of referral, and that is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Where not only does he focus on habits, and you would think like, well, how can somebody have like a livelihood just talking about habits? But he's also, giving suggestions for continuous improvement in your life. The example that I would like to give here is that, you go to work Monday morning and you say, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. And he's saying, just change one word and it changes everything. He goes, just say, the next time you say, I have to do this, just say, I get to do this. So instead of saying have to, say get to. It makes you like you're fortunate, you're lucky. It's a great thing that you're going to be doing, as opposed to an obligation. It just changes your whole attitude.
Talk about perspective
It
change,
does.
right? Isn't that a change in perspective there and now? I mean, emotionally you change, right? The way that you're positioning yourself to get ready to do that changes. I mean, it could be anything. It could be taking the children to a dentist appointment in the middle of your busy day, right? Oh my God, I've
It
got
gives you that
and here
moment of appreciation. I get to do that.
I get to do.
And it's so easy.
Mhm.
Go into the
One
I
word.
must, I have to, I must, I should. But I get to, it just changes your whole physiology and emotion around it, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And gives you that, oh my gosh, I get to do this, and it's important. So without being hard on yourself, which those words very much focused on
Yeah.
beating yourself up because you haven't done it yet. So yeah, we get to get our URL sorted out today in our names and numerous other things that you've shared with us. That's
I
a great,
see Reverend Barbara, from one Barbara to the other. She says, great
yeah,
information, Barbara.
yeah.
And
Well,
she's
thank you very
also in
much.
Florida. Well, no, Barbara, are you in? I know Barbara, our guest, is in Florida, but Reverend Barbara, you're in Georgia, I think, right? Or
No,
Alabama?
I'm in Florida, Winter
In
Haven.
Florida, yeah.
That's it. She's in Winter Haven, Florida. I thought she was in Florida. All right, so very cool. All right, Florida has all of the great Barbaras. Barbara, we appreciate you and your time and your wisdom coming in today. We got to get you back for part 2 and 3 and 4. So at some point,
I love that.
we'll come in and we'll coordinate and we'll get together, and make sure that you guys also go in and listen to Barbara's podcast. She has an amazing podcast for physicians and medical specialists. Now, you might think, well, I'm a course creator, I'm a coach, I'm an author. Why should I go listen to her podcast, right? The reason why is because we're all 6 degrees from separation from knowing someone that could also benefit from her podcast. So you might go in and you listen, and maybe you'll hear my interview where Barbara interviewed me, or you might hear someone else, and that might be a benefit to you, or you might have someone else that it could be a benefit to. And if it is, make sure you share her podcast information. Barbara, outside of a podcast, if you can, well, give them the name of your podcast, where they can find it, and where they can find you if they want to get in contact with you.
My podcast is called Marketing Tips for Doctors, but like Ty said, they are marketing tips that we all can benefit from. Marketing Tips for Doctors can be found on Spotify and Apple iTunes.
Right.
And you could find me at the medicalstrategist.com. And you can give comments at themedicalstrategist.com/contact. And I'll be happy to respond to anybody that decides to respond.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. So thank you for that, Barbara. We'll see you, and we'll definitely get you back on the show. Guys, as we always do in the Monday Morning Meetup fashion, let Barbara know what we thought of her. And if you guys can go into one of her Facebook groups and let us know, what was your biggest aha moment, your biggest takeaway from all of the different things that she shared. I'm sure it's going to be hard to have just one, right? But what was that thing that you're like, you know what, I'm going to go in and immediately start to implement that? It could be simply saying, I get to do this, like changing your perspective on something, right? So
Ordering the book, ordering Atomic Habits if you haven't already read that, or download it on audio. I've got it on audio.
I have it on audio too, which is great because
everything.
I would listen to it wherever I was.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bob. That was incredible. Thank you. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Stay well, Barbara. Thank you. Right. So, Caroline, that was amazing, right? So we get these great guests in, like Barbara, who come in and they just drop jewels, and
1, 2, 3 tips. There you go.
That's it, right? And the beautiful thing about this is all of these can be done, right? From registering your domain name, to going in and setting up Google alerts. I mean, to going in and just reshifting the framing of how you're thinking about things, like, oh my God, I've got to go take these freaking kids to the dentist today, instead of, man, I get to go take these freaking kids to the dentist today. You leave the freaking in there still, right?
Makes it even more powerful. But it's true, that one thing that Barbara said at the end was so powerful, because you know, it is the language we use is so powerful, not just in our marketing, but in the way that we speak to ourselves and other people. And so I think that, you know, just flipping that over completely transforms your life. And that's just one of the tips from, you know, the book and from Barbara giving that to us. And I think the URL website tips and keywords tips as well. Really powerful stuff. Excellent. Really good. And to get in contact with, thanks, Christine, Barbara, it was the medicalstrategist.com. And then I think it was / contact, wasn't it?
Yes,
For putting comments there, which will be great. And then you'll get, I think that's right.
Yep. And I'm sure you can go into her main site, The Medical Strategist, and then find it there. And then also listen to her podcast.
Podcast was Marketing Tips for Doctors podcast, and it's on Spotify. Just pop that in before we go. Spotify and Apple iTunes. That's right, wasn't it?
All right. All right, guys. Have a good one. Go think about this today. Like, what are some things that you don't have to do, but you get to do them? I remember, you know, hearing the late Jim Rohn. He talked about how, you know, when you change your perspective in that way, when you start to look at things differently, he used this approach for his children, where he says, you know, no, actually it was his dad. It was his dad. He said, you know, my dad was getting older, and sometimes my dad would call me to come over and help him with different things. And he had to change the way he thought about it. Instead of, oh my God, how am I going to squeeze that into my busy day? Because Jim Rohn, busy, right? You can imagine. He's like, you know, I get to have another one of these moments with my dad. And I probably only have X number left. So now I get to go in, I get to take advantage of one more of these. I get to go in and enjoy this moment and make some memories and contribute to his well-being and his life, right? So it's all about shifting that perspective. And the book Atomic Habits is an incredible book, right? It's one of those books. Sometimes we talk about books that, you know, you can either read 10 books or you can read one book 10 times. It's definitely a book where you can read 10 times. And if you go in and you go in and look at the author's story as well, and you'll see how he built up this huge database by continuously publishing to his blog and writing stories and contributing in that way. So when he got his first deal, he already had a built-in audience. So now he can go to these publishing companies. He's got a built-in audience, and now they just need to put their machine behind what he's already got that's working. All right. So he talks about that very openly. I've seen a couple of his
daily habits.
Yeah.
Building that. Yeah.
All right, guys. Stay well, Caroline. Good to see you this morning or afternoon for you. But good to see you this morning. And that's it, guys. All right.
And have a great week, everyone.
All right. Have a great week. We'll see you. And Barbara, if you're still here, thank you once again.